Hey all, I've been again reading the LG washer dryer manual to go through all the error codes so you don't have to. So let's have a rundown of them now. First up is the IE error code, or 1E. This is a water supply issue. Their suggestions are that either you've got a mains water problem, there's something going on with your supply taps, maybe they're not open, maybe your hose is kinked at the back. That would be the easiest one. So the water supply hose, if you go around the back of the machine, check, because when they're often in tight space they can get twisted and the water can't get through, or the filter on the supply hose might be blocked in some way as well. So you could just take that off the back of the machine, turn the mains water off at the house, take that off the back of the machine and have a look if there's any physical blockages in there. There may also be a water leakage in the aqua stop supply hose. Now that's a bit tricky for me. It says that would be red, but only some machines have this. I'm not going to go into that much detail here, but maybe you can have a look at that. Next up is the UE error code, which means you've got a load error. Most likely your load is either too small or it is unbalanced. So if it's too small, like you've put in way too little, that the machine is struggling to recognize it, add one or two similar items is what they suggest, and that should balance out the load because it's going to be worried when it's spinning. Also, if it's out of balance, you can do the same thing, similar items. It might be you have the individual heavy items. You might have a bath mat in there, for instance, or something along those lines, a big bathrobe, dressing gown. It might actually stop spinning altogether. So what you need to do is when it does that is open the door, rearrange it and try spinning again. You can do, or you can simply take out the heavy item. Laundry is still too wet at the end of the cycle, and this is what the manual suggests. Try adding in smaller items to balance that load, repeat the spin cycle. My other tip is not in the manual. You could try running the calibration mode, which also resets it after an unbalanced load. Okay, so the OE error next up, it's a drain hose or filter problem. Either your drain hose is kinked or clogged, or the drain filter is clogged. So again, try and get around the back, have a look at the drain hose, try and straighten that if there's a problem, or just clean out the drain filter. Have a look and see if there's anything in there, similar to that water supply issue we talked about earlier. Next one's a bit confusing. There's 3 codes that in the manual, they just say, ensure the door is not open. It's not very helpful, but anyway, DE, DE1, DE2, all of them the same. However, if your door is closed and that doesn't go away, it says to call for a service. I don't recommend you do that right away. I would suggest you have a look at it. Maybe you can get a screwdriver down there and start looking, because it could just be the sensor, it could be the locking mechanism, but definitely I wouldn't call a service right away. I'm sure there'll be something you can do. You could also just try unplugging it from the wall, see if that resets it, leave it unplugged for maybe 10-15 minutes. Service would be absolute last resort. However, this next one, when you see the TE error, it's simply in the manual as a control error, and it says to unplug immediately and call for a service technician to help you. I haven't got any suggestions on that at this point. It's never happened to me, but maybe you can have a look around. I don't have any videos on it. Again, it's never happened. So you definitely want to turn the power off, unplug it from the wall, turn it back on, see if it persists, and then have a look into next steps. Okay, next up, the FE error code is a water valve error. If anyone can tell me why they've got FE for water, TE for control, I don't know. But anyway, this one means that your machine's probably overfilling and the valve that controls the water flow isn't working properly. Now, the suggestions on the manual are simply close the water tap, unplug from the wall, and then call for a service. Maybe doing some of the other things we talked about, looking for obstructions in various pipes or whatever, might be able to help you here. Again, I'd be hesitant to call a service right away, but if your machine is overfilling, then that's not good either. Okay, PE, water level sensor. Again, I don't see any P's in that, but whatever. So this means that essentially that it cannot estimate how much water is in the machine. It's kind of related to the water valve error. The same instructions are given on the manual, okay? So it says unplug, call for service, etc. So let us know if you do find any fixes for these, because again, they're not problems I've had, but if you've got them, do share them in the comments below. That would be great. I've also got some links down below if you're interested in those, buying things related to this machine. Have a look down there, support the channel, be great. Okay, on to the next. LE, motor overload error, and the manual specifically says that the motor is overheating. Now this could be because you overloaded it on weight, it could be that it's unbalanced. So it says to turn it off right away and let it to cool for 30 minutes, and then you can try it again. My suggestion would also be to maybe take out some of the load and run a calibration mode to recenter it to help it spin properly. That might cool things down and help it run that much better. Hopefully this will be okay, but remember, wait that 30 minutes, let it cool down, give that motor a break, because if you just keep pushing it, it's not going to last very long. Another strange error code, AE, is a water leak error. and there's no suggestion in the manual what to do. It just says call for service. Now, if you are good with tools and DIY, you could obviously drain your machine, turn it off, and make sure you're not dealing with any kind of electrical issues. But you could get in there and have a look to see where that leak is coming from. It might just be tightening something, but again, make sure there's no electrical charge involved. I'm not a professional. I can't recommend you how to do that, but it does say call for a service. So proceed with caution with that one. Be careful, and also get something under your machine in case there's puddles there that you haven't seen and it's either leaving moldy, damp, horrible patches, or also causing rust on the inside of your machine, as I've seen on a machine I bought recently for very cheap. Next one, DHE, does not dry, is all it says in the manual, and it just says call for service. Thing is, once you're getting into the electrical faults, as a drier one is, then consider going to the service sooner. I've got a video on how to clean a lint trap and so on. That's probably not going to do it here, but it could be worth a look. As long as you emptied that out and drained the water and so on, then that could help you. I haven't got the actual image from the manual because it's not in mine, but a lot of you have asked about this one, the 4C error code. That is a cold water inlet error, and it essentially means that it's struggling on the mix of cold and hot water, so it can't guarantee the temperature of your wash. I've not fixed that one, but that's what's going on there. It is letting possibly too much cold water, or it's mixing too much hot water, and you're not going to be getting the results you need. So you definitely want to look into getting that fixed right away.
What does the CD code mean? It's actually cool down mode, and it shows this after you've been in a drying cycle. And what it does is it periodically spins the clothes in there every couple of minutes for up to 4 hours, so it doesn't get wrinkled, which is a nice feature. You know, if you can't remember that, you can always think of it as clothes dried as well, and it will just keep them in there. So now we'll have a look at this message, the TCL, which is the LG Tub Clean. Basically, that will pop up every month or so on your machine. It's just to remind you to run a clean cycle. So all you really need to do is run the machine on empty, don't put any clothes in, and you can put, depending on what they recommend on your version, because mine's the direct drive one, you can put a cleaning product in there, or you can even run it with vinegar. I've run it with vinegar, and that seems to be fine. Check the LG website for the exact specific amounts, because I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Now, check out my other videos on the channel for more about this machine and other similar things related. I hope you found that useful. And, well, if there's anything else you want me to read the manual for, so you don't have to, let me know. Like and subscribe for more. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.